Okay, you may now begin.
All right, so it's April the 10th, 5:05 p.m. I would like to call HOCP's meeting to order. First, to start, I would like to welcome our new board members, Eileen and Alexandra. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Chelsea, would you like to say something to start?
Yes, I also would like to extend a warm welcome to you. Thank you for dedicating time and energy and being vested in the outcome of our residents. This is really an organization that supports the heartbeat of what and why we do what we do and our residents. And so just looking forward to you bringing your perspectives and experience and passion to help support our mission. And so thank you so much. You'll hear and learn about how we're currently operating. And I know with the additional experience at the table, there may be suggestions on how to ramp up or be more robust in other areas, but just looking forward to getting to know each of you, and thank you in advance for dedicating time and energy to support us.
Thanks. I'm really excited about it.
Good. Well, welcome and congratulations. We look forward to working with you.
Very excited to be
Varun, would it be
joining.
helpful to do introductions, at least some staff introductions, and maybe other board members can do a quick round of introductions so everyone knows who's on the Zoom?
Yeah, I think we have already introduced, talked to Eileen, myself and Teresa in the morning. I think we can start with Ken. Ken, would you like?
Sure. Yeah. I am Ken Techler. I think I'm the treasurer now of HOCP. I served as the president for a number of years. I used to be HOC's general counsel for a long period of time. So I've been associated with the organization. I've been carefully vested in it and keep following it. And I'm glad to participate in HOCP as much as I can so I can keep involved. And the organization and the staff are just terrific. It's a hardworking organization, and we just do as much as we can to help out to support them.
Thank you, Ken.
Yep.
Maybe Mo, you can go next.
Hi, I'm Mo Smith. I'm an attorney who works in the affordable housing space. And I've been doing this for about 15 years, based out of Washington, D.C. area. Have done some work with HOC over the years, and I can't even remember how long I've been on the board now, maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe a little longer. But have been very interested in participating in the efforts of HOCP in terms of providing support to residents that are in Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mo. Lexon, you want to go next?
Varun, I'm sorry. This is Teresa. I'm having audio issues that I'm hopefully addressing. I don't know if you just asked me to go next or if you guys can hear me at all.
Yeah, no, I thought, sorry, no, you can go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are very faint. I'm sorry. I will get this. This is not ideal. Apologies, everyone. But I am Teresa Dumais. I've been on the board now for a few years. It was pre-COVID when I joined, and I just love this organization and the people who sort of surround us, and John, who supports us and does so much work for the group. And I've known many of you for a few years now, and I am just excited to have Eileen and Alexandra on board.
Thank you. Lexon, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi guys. I I'm sorry for the camera. I am actually fresh out of the hospital. I unfortunately had a pulmonary embolism, and I was released on Saturday. So, it's a bit of a struggle for me, but I am a resident, and I give my input on the other side, where I think it would benefit our residents and the customers within the Montgomery County HOC program.
Thank you so much. So on the staff side,
I'll get us started, and Lex and I hope that you heal and recover fully.
Yeah.
And thank you for making time to join with us today.
Yes.
Obviously, if you need to hop off, we will, my team will make sure you get fully briefed on today's meeting. So
Thank you.
rest up and be well. And so I actually have a couple of my colleagues with me. I'll start with John Voss, who has really provided remarkable and top-notch support to this nonprofit for many years. So John, you want to do a quick introduction?
Sure. Thanks, Chelsea. Again, welcome, Eileen and Alexandra. It was good having a short chat earlier today. I'm the grants coordinator for HOC, so I submit grants to a variety of funding sources, federal, state, local, as well as on the private side. I submit grants from HOC and also from HOCP. And I compile all the reports and get all the business together for your deliberation and action. And we'll be very busy this year. Chelsea will explain with our strategic planning. So once again, thank you and welcome.
Fred, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Welcome, new board members. My name is Fred Swan. I'm the Director of Resident Services here, and we work very closely with HOCP on a lot of our programming, and we're very appreciative of the support.
And Chiquita.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chiquita Waller. I am the Program Specialist for the Adult Education Workforce Development Program. I work with HOC residents to help them meet their needs with career training and educational services.
awesome. Thank you. I think I was just trying to be lazy not to introduce myself, but I guess I'll, introduce myself to, I have been associated with HOCP for the past, I think about 9 years now. I think it was somewhere around 2014 or 15 I came in. And I have to tell you, I'm still learning, but I am so thrilled to be associated with this wonderful organization. A lot of good work has been done. And I think there is also sort of a lot of work that we can see needs to be done. I think now I see a new opportunity here, especially the new board and fresh ideas to be able to do a lot more and think afresh and be able to serve our constituents better. So I think I'm still very excited and I look forward to a good future. Thank you. So I think we can move to the next item. I think, Chelsea, you were going to start a discussion on future meetings, or was it you, John?
I think John can give us some context, but before we do that, I do want to just add, John mentioned that we're gearing up for strategic planning. I mentioned this at the last HOCP board meeting. Wanted to let you all know that last week, the board did approve moving forward with engaging a consultant. The company's name is Public Works, that will be working with HOC in terms of developing the next 5-year strategic planning process. And our hope is to have them engaged here in the next couple of weeks after we finalize contract negotiations. And we've asked and will be asking them to also provide support to the nonprofit as it pertains to strategic planning. So there will be a lot of integration. Our board is also very eager to begin to get to know the members of this board more and to have opportunities for synergy. So no better time to do that than the strategic planning process. So there will be some joint meetings and opportunities to discuss, especially as it pertains to how we focus in on our residents. And then there'll be separate discussions with the consultant and HOCP board on developing the plan for the nonprofit. And so that's coming up in the near future. We will, of course, I will continue to keep you all apprised on how things are moving along and make sure that we coordinate schedules and availability for joint participation.
Thank you, Chelsea. And I had lost audio for a few minutes, so I apologize, but I felt, and I think maybe I missed, but I think we did not have Eileen and Alexandra introduce themselves.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right about that. And I apologize. Yes, please.
Eileen?
Sure. So Eileen Fitzgerald, I'm very excited to be with you. I'm have lived in Maryland for decades now, and we've lived in Tacoma Park since 1995. Both my kids went through Montgomery County schools, and so I've done housing and community development for most of my life at this point. Actually worked for the state of Maryland very early in my career and the federal government, and then have been doing mostly nonprofits, but most recently was at Wells Fargo. So Alexandra and I actually worked together when I was at Stewards of Affordable Housing, but have touched on resident services again, probably since the mid 1990s. So I'm really excited to get to meet all of you and to contribute in some way. So thanks for having me join.
Welcome aboard.
And hi, everyone. I'm Alexandra Nassau Brownstone, also a resident of Tacoma Park. I've lived here for a little over 10 years and love it, and have been working in resident services for a little over 15 years, both sort of at the national scale, and had about 8 years of experience working directly for a developer leading their resident services. So really pleased to be part of this organization and this board, and thinking about how to support the residents of Montgomery County. So again, thank you for the invitation, and really happy to be here with all of you.
Thank you.
So Varun, this next item is here because for the last few years, as a result of COVID, I understand the nonprofit that you all have been meeting just virtually. And I think at one point in the past, there used to be in-person meetings, and that predates me, but I wanted to raise this so that we can get conversations going in terms of what the preference of the board is in regards to future meetings, if we should continue to move forward in the virtual format, if there should be a hybrid, if there should be in person or some other kind of cadence that is preferable. So just allowing an opportunity for us to get a pulse check and do a little housekeeping as we plan for the year and future meetings.
I think it would be really great to have at least a hybrid arrangement. I think there's value in having everybody present, at least as many people who can be present available. I know it can be sometimes difficult for people to be at a scheduled meeting after work or after work days, but if that's something that can be managed, I'd personally like to see at least the hybrid model.
Yeah. And I think, Chelsea, the whole world is trying to give hybrids a try now. So I think we should give it a try for the next, maybe 3 or 4 quarters and see how it works. And if somebody cannot make it, still they have the opportunity to make it hybrid. And if we can see a lot of value from what was missing during the pandemic, and we want to be all in person, or we can make it at least once a year, we can try to do that too. But I think we should now give board members and the staff the opportunity to be hybrid.
This is Teresa. I agree. My only concern about doing a hybrid format, and rather than, you know, maybe saying, okay, this meeting's going to be virtual and the meeting in, you know, whatever, May or July or is going to be all in person, is that we're a pretty small group. And so, you know, having, you know, with a board of 7, if 5 people are virtual and 2 people are in person, I don't quite know what the value of that would be. So I guess my preference would be to try and have a schedule where we either say, yes, let's try and I'll make it in person if we can, or let's have it be virtual if we can. I mean, we can look at hybrid too. I'm not sort of married to it, and we'll be as flexible as you know, as can be to accommodate. The one thing I would request is, for when we do start our strategic planning process, I do think that was really helpful that we did that in person. And I think for at least a couple of those strategy sessions, or maybe all of them, I don't know how folks feel, I think we should be in person for some of that.
Yeah, and I totally agree. There was a lot of value in being there in person for the strategic meetings. And it's very difficult, I guess, to be able to, you know, to be able to then manage 3 people being on screen and then 3 people or 4 people sitting there.
Yeah, I would just agree with Teresa. If it's possible to, you know, make sure you have the best likelihood of getting the most people, even if that's twice a year. I think that it's hard to manage the. It's one thing if it's an emergency, but people can be like, I can really try to plan to be there. I think that would be great for at least 50% of the meetings or something.
Perfect.
So then what we could do, I guess, John, we can work on creating the upcoming meetings. I guess the question is, how frequently would you all want all in person? And the one thing I will just say is HOC's board meetings are hybrid. Although most of the commissioners have started to come in person, we've maintained the ability for people to participate remotely. So we can also keep this function in terms of people being able to watch the meeting remotely, even if you all are all in person as well. So just adding that other element and making sure that we continue to allow the public to participate as they would like to. So.
Yeah, so if we do that, we would definitely have to set a schedule far in advance and keep to it, and not plan from meeting to meeting in terms of dates. So the next major action item of the board for the next meeting will be primarily the budget. And of course, that will also be, hopefully, I mean, we may have some indication on the scheduling of strategic planning sessions. So we usually have a meeting in June to wrap up any last minute or end of year funding requests, and also to approve the upcoming budget. So so I guess we could just make some proposals to you and share them by email and get your reaction. In terms of frequency for in-person, it sounds like possibly twice a year might be what everyone's leaning toward.
I think sorry to interrupt, John. I think from Teresa, what you were also, I think, trying to get to was that we had a lot of value in, especially in the meetings for the strategic refresh, that we should be in person. So do you want that we particularly plan those strategic refresh meetings to be in person for now, for this year at least? What would be your thoughts?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so myself. Yeah. As much
So
as you.
not
as
for
you
the
can.
budget. Yeah, so not for the budget, I guess, John. I think we can work around the strategic refresh meetings to be in person for this year then.
Okay,
That makes
So then-
sense.
Yeah, I like that.
so then basically we could put together a schedule of just the formal board meetings, which would be broadcast following the open meetings requirement online. And then mixed in between all of those meetings, we would have our in-person discussions for strategic planning.
Correct.
Right? Do I understand correctly? And in terms of frequency, it will probably just depend upon the schedule that our that Public Works will put forward for us. What do you think, Chelsea?
Yes, and we'll know better here. Again, we're in the process of now negotiating the contract terms now that we have approval from the board to do so. So I would expect in the next few weeks we'll have more guidance and then can communicate to the group in terms of what time frame we're talking about and availability, etc. Yes.
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
good.
So I guess then we can move to item D on, which is page 3, the approval of the minutes from the February 6th board meeting. I suppose everyone was able to spend time and review the minutes from the previous meeting. Are there any questions? I guess if none, then I would like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
Yeah, I'll move that the minutes be approved.
Awesome, great. All in favor, say aye.
A second?
I can second.
Okay,
Thank you. Having heard no, yep, so I guess this is approved. So next item is, yes, that's, we have some action items for approval of funding request for tuition assistance on page 14. So John, who is leading this?
Varun, we still, Varun, we still have the reports, the financial reports to go
Okay, I'm
through.
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, let's go through those.
So, yeah, okay, so there you are. All right, so, yes, the reports were distributed. It shows primarily the activity of the third quarter. There you see, we still brought in some donations left over, or late donations from the STEM or the Inspire celebration, and also some grant reimbursement, as well as we continue to get HOC Works donations. And the program activity, you see there's some, it's all primarily related to the HOC Academy. And for Eileen and Alexandra, the HOC Academy provides or coordinates a whole variety of programs for kids and adults. Chiquita is here today to talk about, I think it's all for adult education related. But the Academy coordinates programs for kids, a whole variety of STEM activities, out of school activities, during the summer camp, day camp type of activities, and also the HOC Academy STEAM Forward. You see there, that's a grant-funded program to help juniors and seniors in high school get connected to all the services as possible, and to provide them a whole variety of information and seminars to facilitate their applying to colleges and to securing their matriculation into college, and some support even in their first year to help them make that transition effectively. And So that's been going on the third quarter, and we anticipate both the STEAM Forward program to wrap up by the end of, well, at least through August. We have an extension from the Care First grant to extend through August, and the tuition assistance, we expect more requests to spend on tuition bills as they come at the end of the semester, primarily from Montgomery College. And then on the second page of the report, you see the balances of all of the discretionary funding awards. And ultimately, the total amount of funds that are completely discretionary and undesignated. You see there $290,706. That's all money available for the board's discretion. And in terms of these these funding requests, or the balances, the STEAM activities, they will probably be spent down by the end of this fiscal year, as well as the small business strategy course that just started, that spending on that award, and that's for 12 months. So that will transition into the next fiscal year as well. And I believe the youth program service coordinator, we may not be drawing down on all that before the end of this fiscal year. And the other two, the last two, we expect to expend them as well. And just to give a little more background on, you see a separate table for Section 3, HOC Works. HOC requires all of its contractors to contribute to what HUD has as Section 3, and you're probably familiar with it, but all of their contributions, when they don't provide workforce training or on-the-job training or anything similar to that, they have the option to provide a financial contribution, and so they make it to HOCP, and thereby they receive the tax deduction opportunity. And then we use these funds primarily for workforce development, tuition assistance, and we have an adopted policy in place on how to spend those monies. And of course, it has its own ledger balance. And just to follow up on what was decided at the last meeting, you see the deposit, the certificates of deposits were opened at PNC Bank, all following the instructions of the board. And so hopefully we'll earn some interest on some of these funds that have been sitting in our assets. And on the next two pages is also the reports from Pradeep Kumar from our finance department, just showing our overall assets and liabilities, as well as our statement of activities, just from a very high granular level, and to show that they all that all my reports are reconciled with his reports as well. And finally, the budget to actuals, you see there, it's really nice to bring in more revenue than you budgeted and to spend less than you budgeted. We spent less than we budgeted because when we formulated the budget this time last year, we weren't sure about how many activities we could actually bring back into person, and so we didn't go back in person format soon enough to spend down most of what we expected. So we anticipate that the next budget for FY24 will have more activity on the expense side.
John, just the programs that you're saying, or the funding that will be expended, like the STEAM program, will that program be continued in the next fiscal year, or is there no funding to continue that program?
Which one in particular, Arlene?
I think it was the STEAM, the one that was helping kids, juniors and seniors in high school. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yes,
It
yes.
sounded like you were like, oh, well, we'll have that spent down by probably the end of June or July.
Yes, we had to have it extended because we didn't receive the level of interest and participation that we wanted to see. Apparently there are there are a whole variety of reasons, but to answer your question, we don't plan on continuing that program. We will work with First Generation College Bound to who's been providing the services with this grant money to facilitate connections, but right now we don't have plans to continue. In our strategic plan, if things change, if our focus shows us that we should consider continuing it, then we of course will. But right now we have no plans to do that.
Thank you.
There just seems to be a lot of duplication of services. They receive a lot of services through the guidance office in their schools. There are other 2 or 3 nonprofits working specifically in Montgomery County, providing very similar services. So we've been competing with them. And when we started the program 2 years ago, we didn't realize the level of competition. So that's what accounts. That's what we think accounts for the really low levels of participation.
So generally, when you decide to either continue or start a new effort, is there some kind of environmental scan about that issue that determines where else people might be getting that that support, and is there any kind of resident interviews about whether this is a priority? How does that work?
Primarily in the past, we've been just drawing information from our customers through our HOC staff, primarily resident services staff. They frequently come. They come to the academy. They come to their managers and say, we're experiencing these trends, and then we develop a program based on that. Our resident services staff, of course, located a variety of on-site properties. They provide a lot of information and referral to our customers. They get them connected to other community services, and usually if they're coming to us even after all of that information referral and we still see these trends, then we usually act on it and put together some kind of program. Some of the programs too that the academy runs are usually sometimes one-time events, and they just change from school year to school year.
Thank you.
So I guess if there are no more questions, I'll wait for any other questions. If there are none, then we can move to the next item on the agenda today. All right. So the next item on the agenda is on page 14. That's the action item for approval of funding request for tuition assistance. John, will anybody be speaking on this today?
Yes, Chiquita Waller is here today to speak on all 3 action items.
Awesome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Chiquita Waller. I'm the program specialist for HOC's Adult Education Workforce Development Program, and AEWD is requesting an additional $20,000 in Section 3 funds for tuition assistance to support approximately 40 participants AEW looks forward to serving additional customers with assistance to complete certifications, GED, professional and vocational license. With this tuition assistance, HOC customers are able to work toward their educational vocational goals and improve their financial self-sufficiency. Are there any questions?
Just wanted to clarify, so this is, you've historically been providing support to 50 adults here, and this is for an additional 40 on top of that? Is that
Correct.
right?
So I guess, John, should we, since if there are no more questions, should we do a joint vote for all items A, B, C once Chiquita goes through all three of them? Can we do that?
Well, they're separate
Okay,
resolutions, so
Yeah.
it might be better to do
Okay.
it
Yeah,
individually.
I do them separately.
okay,
Yeah.
awesome. So if there are no questions, then I would like to ask for a motion to approve 23-04.
Yeah, I'll vote to approve it or move it.
Okay, all those in favor?
I can second. Don't forget the second. John will be on you.
Yes. I always feel there is a lag, and I think I rush. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, so then motion 23-04 is approved. We can go to the next one.
Yes. All right. The Academy Adult Education Workforce Development Program plans to host outdoor special events in 2023 to assist youth 16 to 24 and adults 18 and over with resume services and other job readiness resources. The HOCP funding will support programming, incentives, resume writing and services and reviewing services, and food. We anticipate that at least 50% of participants will have revised and completed resumes, or participants will receive a scheduled appointment with a service provider to review resumes at another time. Special guests will include WorkSource Montgomery Mobile Unit, LAYC, the YES Program, Equus Workforce Solutions, Casa de Maryland, and Gilchrist Center. This is the first opportunity for the Adult Education Workforce Development Program, and an opportunity to use Section 3 funds in a very specific way to make employment and job readiness opportunities accessible to customers at Cider Mill and Paddington Square.
Good.
Just clarification, what is section 3? Is that HOCP or?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, yes, HOCP funds.
Thank you.
Yeah, so for this particular request, we'll be drawing from HOCP's discretionary fund, the general fund, not Section 3 funds, because primarily the budget will be used for refreshments and other types of ancillary services for the events, and not strictly tuition assistance or training. So yeah, it would be just a general. And again, the Section 3, that's it's HUD mandated requirement that businesses doing work for primarily public housing authorities must provide some kind of job training, additional services to residents of the public housing authority, especially when the contracts are large, like for an example, a construction contract. They're required to provide, I think it's 3%, or services that are at least worth 3% of the overall contract. So many of them choose to provide financial contributions in place of those on-the-job training or educational services. And so like I said, we keep a separate ledger just for those contributions and keep track of them very closely. The compliance department of HOC likewise keeps track, and we report to them on the activity, on all of the contributions we receive and how we spend them. And they likewise have to report to HUD. I don't know how frequently, but they report to HUD on all Section 3 activity. I don't know if I answered your question well enough, Eileen.
You know, that was very thorough. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All right, so if there are no more questions, comments, then I'd like to ask for a motion to approve 23-05.
Motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, all against? Okay, hearing none, 23-05 is approved. All right, so now you can go on with the third one, approval for funding request for chess instruction.
Chiquita, are you providing anything on that?
Just the adult education workforce development.
All right, well, okay, good. Thank you. I could say make a few comments on this request. This likewise comes from the HOC Academy, primarily on the children's side. In the summer, they're planning to conduct chess instruction for youth, somewhat like a summer day camp format at a variety of sites. I believe it's, let me get here. I believe it's 4 different sites, and they will conduct a total of 5 different sessions. One site will have 2 sessions, and they'll be a week long, and the vendor, let me go up here, Magnus, will provide the instruction. COVID, as you all know, has wreaked havoc on outcomes in schools for our kids. And those who were already at risk before COVID are even more at risk after COVID. And their outcomes in school have plummeted. And so the HOC Academy is trying to put together a whole variety of activities to help develop their analytical skills and to also increase their interest in STEM related subjects. So this particular request is focusing just on chess. Naturally, that's it's all to help with their analytical thinking and forward thinking and making plans. And they conducted a similar summer day camp chess activity before COVID, and it was a huge success. It was amazing how the kids reacted to it and how they really engaged in the activity both during the session and then far beyond afterwards. These will be held at sites where we have staff working on site. So they provide the logistical support to Magnus Chess Academy. And the Magnus Chess Academy will provide everything. The instructors, all the more mobile chess sets. They also have t-shirts and instructional materials. So it's a nonprofit, and they do this in a whole variety of venues. They may even be working with the schools, I'm not sure, but they have been doing this since 2008 and are reaching thousands of students. So the Academy is really excited about doing this again because we can go back to in-person format. Of course, that works well with chess, and online really doesn't work well with chess. So the Academy is then requesting a total of $12,600 to be used for those 5 different sessions. And I think it's in here, the per, or maybe not. I thought I had it in here. The per student cost, which was quite reasonable.
And John,
Yes.
are these full day camps?
It's 4 to 5 hours.
And for the kids who are in those, what happens to them the rest of the time? Is there an assumption their parents are there, or what do they do for the rest of that day?
They return home. So these activities will be conducted right on site at the community rooms. So they just basically walk back to their homes from the community room. They frequently do that. You know, they do that when we have after school activities.
Right, yeah, but my question was, is the assumption here then their parents are home, or they're going there, going to a unsupervised situation, or
I don't think we can make any assumptions.
Right.
This is K through 8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say it depends on the child. And there are other activities sometimes go on some of these sites. So they may go into another activity, or they may just go home, and it's just going to depend on the individual situation.
Right.
Well, I guess just for kids at 11 and under. That I guess I would have a concern if there was a 5-hour day, and if their parents are working, they don't have, because if they were signing them up for some other camp that they were trying to get a scholarship to or something, it would probably cover their full day. So I think it's just something to consider.
I could.
Well, the families, have to make choices. Maybe this is one they don't participate in because, they don't have supervision for their child for the whole day, and they do something else, or they keep the child with them. But this is just one option. So, and, maybe one of the parents is home, or some other person who can supervise.
Oftentimes the kids go to each other's homes, and then there might be other family members, and there's it's really difficult to get into this is a particular, for example, Cider Mill, if we just focus on that property, has over 800 units. So, these are pretty large properties with a lot of different opportunities to engage, but our goal is to just provide programming, not necessarily figure out the entire day for each of the programs, but just make sure that there are options and other resources available. So that's definitely how we've had to approach it, or else it might be some parents work evenings, some parents work mornings. You really can go down the slippery slope trying to figure out how you ensure that the program addresses everyone's specific needs. So we just want to make sure we offer various types of programming.
And the parents are aware of the hours.
Yes.
And when in programs like this or the other summer programs, do you have, is there any lunch, are you guys plugged into the free lunches? I know some other housing groups I've worked with have done summer camps on site, mostly to make sure the kids got fed because they were having such food insecurity issues in their developments. So that was one way to make sure they were getting, food to the children. That's probably less about this particular program, just more things for the summer. Is that a component of a strategy at all when you're looking at your summer with kids?
Well, typically, if we have a program, we would provide the lunch or the snacks ourselves, but we had participated in some of the city meal programs, particularly during the school year for our after-school programs. I'd have to check with staff to see about during the summer.
So John, did you have an idea of how many kids will make it to this program?
They were anticipating, where is it here? As many as 84 altogether from all the 5 different sessions.
So that's about what comes out
So
to,
some sites will have as many as 20, others will be around 12.
that's about $150 per kid. So that's pretty reasonable, it seems.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reasonable price.
Or about 5 weeks, I guess. It's what, every day or a couple of days a week?
Each session is every day, 5 days a week, yeah.
Wow,
So they attend for the whole week.
that's like 25 sessions for, yeah, that's not a bad deal, like, 25
No, they're
sessions.
getting 5 sessions, right? They get
Yeah.
it's 1 week at each
1 week,
place.
right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's repeated. It's
Yeah.
repeated.
So if it's repeated, then 84 kids, so will it be like 84 into 5? Because it's 5 weeks, so 84 into 5, 400 kids will be able to touch the program? Or will it be 16 into 5?
No, the 84 is altogether, counting all the children from each of the 5 sessions.
Oh, okay, so 16 kids per week approximately.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it varies depending on the site, but that's about the average.
Yeah, okay.
the bigger sites are 20, the smaller sites are 12.
That's like what, 2-hour program?
5.
Up
Or
to 5.
5.
I think it's up to 5 hours. Yes.
Then that is pretty decent, like, it's priced decently. It's like for 25 hours for, $150. It's like $6 an hour per kid. All right. Any more questions? Well, if none, then I would like to ask for a motion to approve 23-06. All those in favor? Oh, sorry. Anybody second? First?
Anyone motion?
Yeah, I'll move it. I'll move it. There's a second.
I can second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, and all against? Well, hearing nobody against, 23-06 is approved. I guess we come to the end of our meeting today. If there is no other business, I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
No motion? Who would like to motion?
All right, sorry, I would like to, sorry, I think I'm in a hurry.
I'll make the motion.
Yeah.
All right,
I'll second.
thank you. So I guess, wishing you all a great evening. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
We'll see you.
Good evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.